Hi, my name is Danielle. I wanted to make a video talking about trying to deal with everyday activities when you break your fifth metatarsal. I broke my right fifth metatarsal. I fractured it in two places on September 27, 2014. Today is a month later after I originally broke my foot, and I just wanted to do a little tutorial to explain the steps of recovery, what to do to make your life easier, stuff like that. So the first thing I want to talk about is the actual break. What happened to me was I was walking my dog down the street, and he was getting into somebody's flowers, and I was yelling at him, and I stepped on a part of the pavement that was uneven, and it basically, pretend this is my foot. My foot went from here, and it twisted, my whole ankle twisted. This is the outside of my foot. The outside of my foot landed smack dab on the pavement. And there's a little bone right here that sticks out on the side of your foot, and that's the bone that hit the pavement. That's the bone that fractured. But basically, as soon as it fractured, I wasn't really sure if it was broken or not, but it hurt a lot. And I ended up hobbling my way back to the house. Within 10 minutes, my foot was extremely swollen. I'll add a picture in there so you can see. It basically looked like there was a huge bump on the area, and it was, it started to get worse and worse and worse. I immediately went to the doctor, and they did an x-ray, and that's when they told me it was broken. And then they told me, well, it's technically fractured, but they still call it broken. Even if the break doesn't go all the way through, it's still considered broken. So I went to the orthopedist, and they gave me a boot. This is the boot that they gave me originally. This is open toe front. It's 2 Velcro. All you do is slip your foot in there, Velcro it up, and then these come off and you can adjust them. If you have a bigger foot, a smaller foot, this is the Velcro that goes on there. And this is the boot I had for a month. I just got out of this boot. The bottom of this boot is extremely thick and it does not flex. So, is to keep your foot from bending when it's swollen. This was great up until I began to start putting pressure on my foot. So with this boot, what you want to do, they'll give you all this stuff, but the first thing I did was got an ace bandage, and at the time my foot was so swollen and so painful that they could barely wrap the ace bandage around my foot. So I literally was just they wrapped it so loosely, and normally it's supposed to be tight to hold all the bones together, but they wrapped it really loosely and then stuck a sock over it. This is the sock that I recommend. It looks like a normal sock, but it's actually a sock by Dr. Scholl's, and it's made for people with diabetes so as not to cut off the circulation in your ankle. So this part is extremely stretchy, and if you can see, it has it's really thin. This part will stretch and relax as your foot or your ankle swells and loosens. So, and this one is really thick. I don't know if you're in a hot climate, but this sock is very, very thick and warm. So I actually found that when my foot was broken that my foot got cold a lot, and because I was not moving my foot and not using that leg, my foot actually got cold quite frequently, even though it was 70, 75 degrees outside. So I actually found these to be really handy. I got these at Walmart. They came in a pack of 4 for like $8.88 or something. It's $8, I believe. And I only used them on my right foot, so technically 4, it lasted me 4 days. So that's that. So I put the ace bandage around, and then the sock went over it, and then you put the boot on top. And that's what I had going for this past month. Starting to hurt. When you use crutches, the most important thing is to make sure that you don't push on your underarms, because you can do serious nerve damage, and which can cause inability to use your arms correctly, is what I was told. So you really don't want to push underneath your arm. You want to squeeze, but you don't want to push the crutches up. So what you want to do is you want to have, I think it's like 1/2 inch or 1 inch gap underneath your armpits, and then you're going to take your hands, and on those handholds, you're going to push down on those when you take a step. On the side, it has inches, your height, and what you want to do is, well, the doctor will do this for you, but you want to adjust it so that it matches your height. This is just a reference. It's not the go-to height by any means. If you feel like the crutches are up here too high, then of course lower them a little bit. You want to have a little bit of gap between your underarms and the top of the crutches. This prevents you from pushing down and doing nerve damage. So what you want to do when you're using your crutches is you want to push down on the hand bars, and this is going to hurt a lot in the beginning, but trust me, you'll get used to it after a week or two. Still hurts me occasionally, but it's better than causing damage. So you're going to push down, grab and push, and then take a step. And you want to keep your arms in, but you don't want to lean on top. So you just want to keep your arms nice and locked. You're going to take a little step forward, not a big step. You don't want to go too far forward in case you lose your balance. And you're going to push down like that. Okay? One of the best things for me that I noticed for relieving pressure on my hands when I was using the crutches was to take 2 ace bandages, 1 for each crutch, and I literally wrapped the ace bandage around the handle, and then I put duct tape around it, or some kind of tape around the ace bandage. And you're going to have to really tape it well, because the ace bandage will move a lot, and then you'll have to unwrap it and rewrap it, which I've done probably 4 or 5 times. But that significantly decreases the pain in your hands. You're going to get a ton of pain right here in both of your hands, and I'm starting to get blisters there. Also, any kind of athletic glove or gel padded glove will help you too. I actually found them to be really annoying because I didn't want to wear them all the time, and when I tried to find them, I couldn't find them. And it just became frustrating to take them on and off and on and off. So like the best thing for me was to have the ace bandages wrapped around the handles. And sleeping at night, sleeping's a pain in the butt, at least for the first month. Every 6 to 8 hours I was taking 600 milligrams of ibuprofen, which was prescribed to me by my doctor. That helped a lot with the swelling and the pain. The pain in your foot, it kind of feels like somebody's like squeezing your foot extremely hard, and you also get like this tingling sensation, and you'll get like an electric, it kind of feels like an electric pulse running through your foot, so your foot will constantly, it kind of feels like a heartbeat in your foot, so it will just go bam, 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 bam. It doesn't really hurt, it's just kind of like awkward. Sometimes it hurts, like in the beginning it really hurt, but now it's not so bad. What I did was, and I also found this extremely helpful when you first injure your foot, is to pick up your leg underneath your knee and then pick up your calf and position your foot onto the pillows. So you're going to go up and then place your foot on, And I would not recommend lifting your foot straight up. It's going to hurt a lot and it's going to put a lot of pressure on your bone. So anytime you move your foot in the first month or 2 to 3 weeks, push underneath your calf and move your foot, because just lifting it is really going to hurt. So what you can do, and this isn't the boot you're going to have the little baby boot, but I'm just using this to demonstrate. What I do, because there's this huge gap between the bed and my leg, what I've been doing is taking this and I take the higher side and put it under my knee and the lower side goes under my leg. So I would go like this and I would lean back like that. And that was the easiest thing for me. Another thing you want to do is when you rest your foot on top, I felt that it hurt me a lot to have my foot just kind of hanging there like that on top of the pillow, like this. So what I did was I took a blanket and I put it under my foot and I put my foot on it like this so that there wasn't as much pressure on the top of my foot pushing down like that. Put something under your foot, not in this boot, but in the smaller surgical boot, to keep your foot from hurting when you're lying in bed. Trust me, my foot hurt a lot in the mornings when I did not do this. Once you're out of this position with your heel on the pillows, and trust me, the first week nothing's going to be comfortable. Even putting your heel on the bed, the pain is going to radiate up and into the side of your foot. It's going to hurt no matter where you put your foot. The best advice I can give you is to put as many blankets and pillows underneath your knee as possible, because that way if you do this and you keep piling up blankets, it will alleviate the amount of pressure that is on your heel, and that way when you're putting your foot on the pillow it won't hurt so bad. But you don't want to pile them too high as to where your leg is not elevated anymore. So when you're lying down, obviously you want your foot to be up higher, and you want it to be higher than your heart. So it's going to be up there. The next one that you can do is you rotate your leg inward. You rotate your leg inward like this, and you put the computer laptop desk under, and that way it will keep your knee from hyperextending when you're lying on your side, and then you just put your blankets over like that and you sleep like that. And I also found it helpful to lie in this position when I was putting the ice on so that the ice wouldn't fall off of my foot. So those are the 2 ways that were best for me to sleep. Okay, so another thing that's a real pain in the butt when you are trying to get around the house is you're going to get a lot of pain in the opposite foot that you're standing on the entire time. Sorry, this camera's shaking. The pain for me, since it was my right foot, I noticed that my right hamstring from holding up my foot was hurting a lot. My left hip, the hip that I was standing on the entire time, it was taking the majority of the weight. That's what hurt me, and my left foot was really hurting me a lot. So you'll notice that within the first couple of days, you'll get a ton of pain in those 3 areas especially. And I noticed that within 2 weeks the pain decreased drastically because my body was getting used to accommodating for not using my right leg. When you're in the kitchen and you're trying to cook something, I actually got a stool from a family member and put it in front of the stove, and I sat on that while I cooked and moved it around to the sink, to the fridge, so that I didn't have to constantly stand on my foot, because your foot gets exhausted after a while. A stool like this is great. I use it for the dishes, I use it for the stove when I'm cooking. It's extremely handy to have something like this. You can also use anything else that's like up high so that you can reach things. You don't want a chair that's way down low. It's one of the most frustrating things with crutches is that both of your hands are being used, so you can't carry things very easily. So the one thing that I started doing was I started using a backpack, which is kind of a given, but it actually made my life a hell of a lot easier. Carrying things when you're on the crutches, the best thing that I found was an Nalgene bottle like this, or a mug, if you're a coffee drinker, that has a handle that comes all the way down. Okay. So if you're on crutches and you're having trouble carrying something, I got this mug at Starbucks. It has a full handle around it. It has a top that closes, so if it flips upside down, it's not going to spill. What I do is I take my pointer finger, I put it underneath, and I take the rest of my hands, and I grip it underneath and put my thumb on top, so that's to hold it like this. And then when I'm traveling, when I'm moving around, that's the best option for you so that you don't spill it. Actually, when I'm in the kitchen and I wanted to move my food from the countertop to the table, I actually use the countertops to carry my food. So, sorry, my dog's here. This is Ajax. Say hi. So this is what I do. So you have your plate of food, your bowl, your cereal, your chicken, whatever. Push it, move. Push it, move. Push it, slide over. Push it, slide over. Take your plate. Get as close to the table as you can, whereas you can still reach the plate, okay? Then you're going to pick up the plate with your right hand, transfer it to your left hand, and put it on the table. That's the best way that I've found of doing it. I also got a walker here, which I just got, and this is great. This is great because you can store things inside of the seat, and you can also put your knee right on top of here and put something on top. Here's my injured leg. You can put something in here if you want to carry something. This I found extremely helpful, especially when I'm tired of using the crutches and my hands hurt. I've been putting my knee on the walker. They also make knee scooters, which might be really helpful. They're a lot smaller and thinner, and they're easier to maneuver, and they have like a steering wheel like a scooter, or handles like a scooter. But this came from a family member and it was free. So I'm using this. And it also has a nice seat. Hold on, put your knee on, and then just push with your foot. If you get tired, or if you're in the kitchen and you're trying to do dishes or grab something, you can turn it around and you can sit. I found it extremely helpful. So if you have the chance to get one of these, I would highly recommend it, especially if you want to start doing things on your own. So that's actually extremely helpful for carrying things as well, and makes it a little bit easier than using the crutches. When I had to go do laundry, I had to go down, bring my basket, which I couldn't carry by myself. So I had to bring it downstairs. So instead of doing that, I got a big bag. Let's see if you can see it. That gray bag over there. I got that bag. That's actually an air mattress bag, and it has a strap on the side. So what I did was I put all my dirty clothes in there, and then I brought it, I carried it downstairs on my back, and I emptied it, and then when my clothes were clean, I filled it back up, and I brought it upstairs on my back. Helped out tremendously with carrying things up and down the stairs. Okay. This is one technique that I've been using to go up the stairs. Sometimes I get really tired and I don't want to use the crutches, so I'll just go up on my knees. So all I do is put my right knee down and push up with my left foot. Right knee, left foot. Right knee, left foot. Right knee, left foot. And you just keep going up the stairs like that. To go down the stairs, you take the two crutches, you put them on the stair you want to go to. Make sure that you're close to the stair. And you're going to push down on both the crutches, hold the railing, and since technically you won't have this walker on yet. I'll show you what it's like with the first boot, the little boot that I had, and then I'll show you with the walker. So what I do is I push down on both and transfer down. Push down on both, transfer down. And this is when your foot is just first injured, so you're not putting any pressure on it yet. Obviously with the walker, you'd be pushing down. Push down and go down. Push down and go down. This is how I would do it when I first get the walker. Since I am new to using this, I just got it 2 days ago, I actually not quite ready to use it without crutches. So this is how I've been going down the stairs. Push your heel down, the bottom of your foot, and then transfer down. Crutches, heel, foot, push down. This is when you get better at putting weight into your foot. It's the easiest way if you're really tired and you don't want to use the crutches. Is I slide my crutches down the stairs to the bottom or close to the bottom, and then I'll put both my hands on, lift my foot up, and go down like this, one step at a time. If you want to go up the stairs, you can go backwards, you can go like this, if you want to carry something in your lap, or if you're really tired. Once you get your foot is okay, you can push with both feet. I'm not quite there yet. If you want to use the crutches to go up the stairs, I've been putting it on the same side as my foot because I have the railing on the opposite side. So you want to have the railing and the crutches on the opposite side. So what you're going to do is you're going to pull the crutches up, and then you're going to lift your foot up. This is when you're first injured, not when you're in the boot that I'm in. Then you push down on both the handle and the crutches, and you step up. I find it easier to squat a little bit or lean forward a little bit when I'm doing this, just so you don't fall backwards. Push on both, hop up. Push on both, hop up. Push on both, hop up. Those are just some techniques. I would not recommend putting the crutches on either side and going down the stairs because you have no control if you fall on your face and break something else. So 2 on either side, push down and step. That way you always have a grip and you won't go anywhere in case you do fall. I've already fallen once in the boot, so not on the stairs though, but I've had some close encounters. So that's what you do. Let's see. When I had to go to the grocery store or when I had to go anywhere, I always had a driver. Don't try and drive with your left foot. It's really dangerous. Unless you're a NASCAR driver or something, I wouldn't suggest it. Definitely try and get rides ahead of time. Within the first week, I was really only able to be at school for about 2 hours a day before my foot really started hurting. And the best thing I can suggest if you're in class is to put your heel up on another desk or a chair. So you put your foot up like that and rest it. You can also hang your heel off of the edge of the desk. Sometimes that was helpful for me, and sometimes I felt a strain on the top of my foot, so I stopped doing it. It just depends on what's comfortable for you. I was constantly having to move my foot around. The first week, I really didn't move my foot a lot. What I did was, the first thing I ever did was I took my fingers and I pulled up on my toes. I pulled up on my toes and I pushed down on my toes. This is the first thing I ever did when I was able, probably a week into after my injury, push up, push down. Then the second thing I did was try to do it by myself. So I would push up and I would push down, push up and push down. That was the second thing I did. The next thing I did with my foot was I tried to push my foot to make it 90 degrees. So I would literally pull my foot up and try to make it so that it was at 90. Because my foot was stuck in this down position. So I tried to make it so that once I went back to standing, because when you stand, your foot's like this. And when you get a walking boot, your foot's like this. So if you're going to have one, you've got to be able to at least put your foot at 90 degrees. So every day, what I would do is, this is probably like a week, 2 week and a half in. And if it hurts you, obviously don't do this. But I pulled my foot up little by little, and I even went a little past 90, but not a lot. And I just pulled it. And I held it there for a little bit, and then I released. And you'll notice your shin and your calf will hurt a lot when you start doing this. Your calf, because it hasn't been stretched right here, is going to hurt a lot. And up here, because you haven't used the muscle. So once I started being able to do it by pulling, I would try and lift my foot. And this seems super easy, but when you hurt your foot and you haven't used it, it really hurts. So I started pulling just a little bit every day. And that actually significantly helped. That helped a lot. When I went to the doctor the second time, they actually did that to my foot, and they had me push up and push down, push left and push right to make sure that when I got into the walking boot that I was able to put my foot at 90 degrees. So I was actually really thankful that I was practicing that. You also, when your foot is not being used, it gets really stiff, and I had a lot of swelling under my behind my toes, like under on the pad right here. I had a ton of swelling right here, so it made it extremely hard to bend my toes down. So I was really trying to get as much movement as possible, especially when your foot gets cold and stiff. You want to just move it. I was icing my foot 20 minutes on, 20 minutes off, probably 5 times a day, maybe 6 times a day initially, and constantly elevating it. The best thing you can do for your foot is ice and elevation, ice and elevation. And everybody always says that, but trust me, it works, and it's extremely helpful. When you're putting the ice on your foot, the best thing I found for me, because of where the injury is, it's hard to like mold a gel packet around your foot. So the best thing I did was I got like a sandwich size Ziploc bag. I stuck 4 ice cubes in it. I filled it halfway. And then I put it inside a gallon Ziploc bag, closed that up. That was just to make sure that this first bag didn't leak. And then I stuck my foot inside a long sleeve t-shirt, and I put the ice pack on top of the t-shirt. That was because I felt that the towels were too thick and the paper towels were too thin, and you don't want to put ice directly on your foot. So what I did was I started using a shirt, and that was actually extremely helpful. And I felt like the ice in the bag helped me a lot more, and was easier to mold to my injury than the regular ice packs. And probably 3 weeks into my my injury, I started pushing my leg so that it went to 90, like that, and I would come back and I would push my leg till it got to 90, like that, and then I started standing on the foot little by little with the crutches and trying to walk. 2 days ago was when I had my last doctor's appointment, and what I did when I went in was what I told you before, is they moved my foot around. They had me push up, down, left, and right before they gave me the boot. And this is the boot I'm in now. I'm sorry if I'm butchering it, but it's called the Oser Equalizer Air Walker. And Obviously I wouldn't recommend you just go out and buy it because you have to go to an orthopedist to get your foot fitted to the right boot. It looks like this. This is the boot that I'm in. It's extremely helpful for walking. I'm actually having a lot of trouble walking on it by itself, so I've been using the crutches with it. It has a rocker on the bottom. I don't know if you can see, but it's actually angled. It has a curve to it on the bottom. See? And that's so that you can walk heel to toe because you can't move your ankle around. Your ankle is constantly at like 90 degrees, so you can't actually move it. So the rocker just helps you have more of a fluid motion, and it simulates walking. I'm actually having a hard time with it, so I've just been doing little by little, trying to push down on my heel. It used to hurt a lot to push on my heel, and now it's not so bad. So I push down on my heel, and the one thing you want to make sure that you do is put your weight all the way down, push all the way down in your heel when you put this boot on, and I'll do a demonstration of how to put it on if you want. But push all the way down in your heel, so your heel's all the way in the back of the boot, and then you push down with the surface of your foot, and then you push down with your toes, so you're doing a rocking motion with your foot. This, I forget what they're called, but it's kind of like a sock without toes, and it's an ace bandage pretty much, but you don't wrap it. It's like, it's just a tube, and they give you this when you get your boot. This is what you put underneath to keep your foot steady and to keep it from sweating in your boot. And then you're going to take your sock, you're going to put your sock over. I find it easiest to bunch it like this and put your toes in, especially if you have an injury in the outside of your foot. It really hurts. So you push and then you pull up. And don't snap it on your foot like I just did. Okay, so what I'm going to demonstrate right now is how to get up from the floor when you first injure your foot. What I found was when I got up from the floor, any other position that I was in where I was not supporting the outside of my foot really hurt. So what I found to be the easiest, this is the original boot that I was in, is what you do. I'll scoot back a little. You put your good foot in front, okay, and you take your hand and you grab the ankle of your bad foot, and what you're going to do is you push, see my other hand is on the floor, you're going to push up with your good foot, hold on to your bad foot, and stand up. And then you're going to grab onto whatever's near you, like that, okay? So you're on the floor. And the reason that I did this is because anytime that I stood up, I either fell right over again, or I put pressure on the outside of the bone, the outside of my foot where the bone was broken, and it killed to stand up. So I found that not holding the actual injury, but holding the ankle to keep the foot from flopping around when you stand up, was extremely, extremely helpful for me. So when you get your walking boot, what the doctor's probably going to tell you is that you need to find a shoe that's the equal to the bottom of the boot. The distance between the floor and where your foot is a ginormous gap. It's like a couple of inches. And if you just wear the boot and a regular shoe, your hips are going to be off balance, and it's going to cause you hip and back problems. So you want to find a shoe that evens out your hips and your leg length, so that you eliminate having problems with your back and any other body parts. This is the shoe that I ended up purchasing. This is a New Balance. It says N2 1060 V3. 1260 V3, I'm sorry. This is a men's shoe because the store didn't carry my size. I wear an 11 to 11 and a half in women's. This is 9.5 in men's, I believe. I'm also 5'9", so I'm extremely tall. but I actually went to a specialty shoe store that has I think it's called a not a podiatrist, but something, a specialist in finding shoes to fit that equal out your leg length with a walking boot. So the lady that I went to knew how to work with me, and she sat with me for about 2 hours, and we tried on all these different kinds of shoes with a big heel, and these are the ones I ended up purchasing. I actually have very narrow feet. This was the shoe that was best for me. I tried a bunch of different ones. I tried Brooks, and I tried a bunch of different clogs, but this is actually the shoe that was the best and most comfortable for me. This has a large, I don't know what you call it, a large heel in the back. This is also the insert that's in my shoe. This is like a heel cup, and it gives about probably a ½ an inch height in the back of the shoe. I also have underneath, I have in the very bottom, there are these foam pads, and this adds probably another like 1/4 inch to the height of my foot. So I use this shoe. This is the only shoe I used, and I found it really difficult to find shoes that matched, and these shoes still don't match with the height of my walking boot exactly, but it's as close as I could get it. So I highly recommend that you I highly recommend that you get a shoe like this, because if not, you're gonna have a lot of pain. You could also, I saw these things online called Easy Ups, and they're like $33, and I haven't gotten them. I don't know anything about them, but I was reading reviews, and they said, a lot of people said that they weren't made very well and they're falling apart. But it's worth a try if you want to save money, because these shoes are about $120. And the heel cups were about $30. So if you want to spend $150 and you have the money, look into a sneaker like this. If not, I would recommend trying to find another option like the Easy Ups. And like I said before, I don't know anything about them. I just saw them online as an option. And basically what the Easy Up is like an extra padding. It's like black foam rubber or something or other that goes under the shoe, and it has a strap that comes around the outside of the shoe, and then a Velcro strap that comes here. So it like fits under the shoe, and it gives the shoe an extra couple of inches to match it up with your boot. Some people like them, some people don't, but that's just an option that I noticed. If you have any questions about anything that I said, if there's something you want me to demonstrate or show you, let me know. Tell me in the comments, and I will be sure to answer your questions. I hope this video was really helpful. Sorry if I rambled on or talked too much, but let me know if there's anything that you'd like to know. Thanks.